Hello, hypothetical viewers, and welcome back to Shining Force Gaiden. We are going into Gundel Fort to confront, what was his name again? Well, we're about to find it out. This guy. This guy right here. And rescue the surviving members of the Shining Force. It has been many years, my prince. You look well. I didn't decide on a voice for this guy until the battle where we're going to kill him, so my apologies. What's your name? Danton or something? Damon? I dread this battle. You are like your father. You'll never back down. So I guess he's like was a high-ranking person in like the actual Cyprus army, and is apparently not too pleased about the king having been murdered by his brother. And yet I must kill you, even though my heart is with you. I'm sad we can't recruit him. He's cool. I'd love to have a tiger dude in the army. But he's a loyal knight who is serving the king, you know, so who will fight us. Let's see, so this is a big indoor map. Wow, this is actually a fairly ginormous map with not very much on it. This is a very impressive throne room for a fort, I have to say. I was expecting something a little more simple for just like a fort, but like, we have this candelabra-lined hall, and then these stairs that appear to be just soaring like 30 or 40 feet up, and then up here we just have a bunch of thrones and more candelabras, so this is hella fancy. We also have some new enemy types, so let's check them out. We have the Cerberus. I think they breathe fire as their special attack like they do in other games. The Cleric, updated healer over here with heal 4, and another spell that's just called attack, so I'm not totally sure what that is. I'm trying to remember back. I know that in one Shining Force game there's like a weird glitch spell, and that I'm wondering if that is it, because I remember in one game there was some spell that like didn't actually do anything. But that might have been something else. This is a vague memory. The Demon Master, who has Freeze 3 and Boost. Cerberus. And over here we have the Hawkman. And they also have Boost. And they can fly, so they'll be able to really hem us in as we're sort of proceeding up here. Yeah, this actually might not be that long of a battle because we're just kind of walking straight up. But there are a fair amount of enemies. And then here we have Dantom. That was his name, Dantom. Who has Dispel, so I guess he can silence our mages. And unlike our Beastman, he actually can equip weapons. So I guess like they're both like of the same like species of beast people, but they're not the same character class because Gaiden is the berserker type and he's like a swordsman. Has a decent amount of HP, a lot of defense, very good attack. So you know he'll definitely be tough to take down. I am bummed that we can't recruit him because his portrait is really cool and he just seems very cool. He might be one of the only one of the enemies we're fighting that was like an actual member of like the Cyprus army prior to this takeover, because Waldal is some sort of weird like monster dude. I don't think that he's technically called a devil because I don't think they were called that in Shining Force 1, but he basically appears to be the same type of entity that later ended up being called the Devils in Shining Force 2. The servants of Dark Soul or whoever. And the other one, Frabel, looked like that too. Their art style is very similar to the Devils in Shining Force 2 with like purple skin and stuff. So they appear to be like the Dark Soul type people or whatever, the people who kind of took over. And this guy appears to be one of the original people of Cyprus who appears to not be too pleased about this takeover. So it is a bummer that we can't just recruit him to our army. But I have to say, I usually praise the sprite art in this game, but I'm actually not that into the background for this one, this battle background. It's a little bland. It's, considering how, like, swanky this place appears with, like, just the purple carpet and chandeliers and ginormous pillars and gold, the hangings and everything, I expected something a little more cool looking for the background, but it actually was not. It's sort of, I guess it's purple, but it's like a very pale purplish gray. It has a very plain looking shield and some torches and then a blue carpet, which is not the right color. And that's it. It's like just flat. There's no depth or anything. It's just a flat wall, no real decoration. It's weird because like it's not badly sprited or anything. It's not like made in an incompetent way. It's just bland. That's all. The design, the art direction, I think does not hold up as well as the other battle backgrounds in the game, because this game overall has had some great backgrounds for the battles. You know, it's had some very nice sprite art with lots of detail and lots of like cool little accents and stuff. So I'm surprised that it didn't happen here. But I guess, you know, not every art asset can be a winner. Hank's attack looks really stupid, his animation, where he looks like he's just flailing around and just like, it's hard to describe, but he almost looks like he's not actually like swinging his whole arm with the sword. He's just like lifting it and flicking it down like with his wrist or something. He's not, because his body doesn't seem to move very much, so it seems like he should barely be doing anything. He's just like whip, whip. It doesn't seem like he's actually really, you know, giving it a good swing. Oh yeah, and we have our wizards with us. We did not before because the last battle had no magic use. But yeah, we have Wendy's here. They don't have any upgraded spells yet because they haven't gotten any levels, but hopefully soon. And Yisha, who appears to have, I'm guessing those green things are supposed to be some sort of hair ornament because she appears to have 2 of them now. So I'm assuming they're not actually her ears, since usually being promoted to a wizard probably doesn't give you an extra set of ears. That would be very strange. But, so her outfit doesn't look that different. Wendy basically looks like she got a little hat. I think the battle sprites don't have any of that detail, though, because they're all just the same generic wizard sprite, which... And since the battle sprites are all viewed from behind, it's basically just a person with a cloak. The wizard sprite is another one of those ones where I'm like, I don't really like it as much as the... And this is actually true in Shining Force Arpesia as well. I think the mage sprite is cooler looking than the wizard sprite. But it's just a matter of personal taste. It's not badly made or anything. I just don't find it as stylish. And Dantom is on the move. I thought we could get this done quickly by just walking up because it would be the shortest route, but apparently he's like, no, I'm going over here. That's a little annoying. These stairs are also a choke point, which is also annoying. Mainly because it makes the battle take longer. But yeah, it's disappointing that I mean, it is a really short game overall. Like it's a side story, not a main series title or whatever, because it's a Gaiden game. But it's too bad that we didn't get to have a little more time to kind of learn about Danton and like develop his character or whatnot, because he actually seems fairly cool. And I feel like he could definitely have gotten kind of the, you know, the sort of storyline of like the tragic villain where you wish you didn't have to fight them, which, you know, plenty of games do so well, but here we've kind of barely seen him, so it's like, oh, he seems like he's cool, but we don't really know much about him. But still, he has a really cool art, I have to say. His portrait is snazzy. It also shows off the nice art of this game, because the shading and stuff with the tiger stripes is done really well. You know, because you can, if you want to make like a tiger sprite, you could easily go wrong and have it look really garish and like, you know, like the stripes are clashing too much. This one actually works very well with a nice subtle shading. Brass Gunner's attack! It really seems like getting hit with this should just straight up kill you, not do 2 points of damage. Like, he's not shooting from particularly far away, and Nick appears to be getting hit with some sort of massive, like, artillery shell. So it's quite incredible that they don't really do all that much damage. Yeah, Dantom is just like, I'm gonna fucking run all the way around here. Well, I guess we'll go back down the stairs then, because why are we going up here? This is very strange AI. Like, why is it programmed like this? Or wait, were there even... I didn't look at the map carefully enough. I have to check next time we get a turn. The enemies are all going off to the sides because... God forbid the battle be short. Nothing is more fun than walking around a map. There's a lot of things to fight, to be fair. Oh, a Belial. I didn't even notice that. That's another new enemy. Oh shoot, this boost. This does have the same sound effects as Shining Force 2, I want to say. Doesn't it? Maybe it doesn't and I just forgot that. Maybe I'm getting it confused now. It's entirely possible. Like it all blends together for me. Can you stack boost? Is that a thing? I sort of assumed it would have diminishing returns, but yeah, see, it doesn't do anything. I guess the AI is not sophisticated enough to, well, I guess it worked on the Hawkman, so yeah, it worked on, I guess that's why the AI did it, because I was like, it's weird that the AI would use a spell that doesn't affect the target. Well, I guess let's keep shooting this guy. Their defenses have been boosted, so that's annoying, but no, we'll do our best. It's funny, the guide I'm using recommended being like level 12 for this fight, and I mean, I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but it doesn't seem hard enough to merit, level 12 promoted, it doesn't seem hard enough to merit that for every single character we have. Like, it's not that bad. Oh wow, she was apparently only 1 point away. Oh, we finally got Blast 3, very nice. A rare case of a 1 point of X actually mattering. Seriously, and here he's being shot at point blank range by this ginormous thing. I guess he is sort of swinging his arm, but it's just like his elbow is staying so close to his body that it just seems like a very awkward way to swing a sword. I mean, I realize it's because like the sprite, I would assume it's sort of they're trying to keep it in like a area, you know, inside of its box or whatever. But it still just seems very baffling. And honestly, there have been other sword using sprites in the series that have looked less awkward, so it might just be Prince Nick. It actually cracks me up more because of a spoiler about Shining Force Sword of Asia, which I'll avoid spoiling. And I'm not going to remember this by the time I get to that point in that game, sadly. I mean, on the other hand though, these games are close to 30 years old at this point. Wow, that is... man. That's sobering. These games, I was born in 1988, and the first Shining Force game came out in 1992. So these games were literally made when I was a wee little preschooler. So that was long ago. So maybe spoilers don't count. But anyway, in Shining Force 2, Prince Nick isn't the lead of that game, right? Because he was the lead of this game. It's a side story. And in that story, Prince Nick has been, oops, I meant to use magic with him, and got distracted telling this story. So Prince Nick has been afflicted with a curse that, this is leaving some plot points out, you know, let's leave some suspense, but that turned his hand to stone. So he can't use his magic sword. So it just kind of extra cracks me up that his sword animation is so awkward, because it's like, Prince Nick has some hand troubles. Like, he lifts it all the way over his head, straight up, and then just swings it down really close to his body. I don't know. It just looks wacky to me. But yeah, he has some ongoing struggles wielding that sword, apparently. Oh yeah, I meant to check if there's... Oh, so there are not any stairs over here, actually. For a minute I thought they were sort of coming over to us, but no, apparently Dantom is just like, you know, fuck you for trying to make half-hour-long videos. I'm gonna walk all the way to the ass end of this map just to make it take as much time as possible for you to beat me. Couldn't just sit on your fucking throne and just wait. I mean, I guess it does explain why the map is so big, because otherwise there would be really no point to most of the space. But I'm like, I'm just saying, he started here, and then he was like, I'm just gonna walk over here, even though I just said I'm committed to killing you. I'm like, I'll just fuck off and stand over here on this, I don't know, balcony? And now we're just gonna have to walk all the way there, and it's just gonna take ages. Especially because the stairs constitute a bottleneck. So this map design, it's very aesthetically pleasing, it looks cool, but once again, it is not actually that interesting to play as a game. It is kind of annoying. And it's not like, oh, it makes the map more challenging. It's just like, well, this certainly will take more time for me to get there. Like, it's not... It doesn't make it more fun to play or more challenging to play. It just makes it time consuming. So yeah, I'm just shaking my head right now at this design for a map. And the enemy AI that goes along with it. It's like, why? I just have to walk in a big loop, basically. Oh, good job, Gaiden. Those boots are actually pretty stylish looking. They're cool. Yeah, you know, he got very little in his pre-promotion level ups. He was only getting like 1 or 2 points in stats, so I was a little concerned. But now it is seeming to me like, I'm actually gonna have him pop down here and help Gaiden, because this enemy is annoying. I'm just like, ugh, it's bugging me. And I have plenty of people up top to fight all the other shit. But now it's seeming like maybe that's just how his character works. Like, he gets crappy level ups before promotion, but if you actually put in the time to promote him, he starts to catch up really fast. So I'm hyped about, you know, I wasn't originally going to keep him on the force, but I'm hyped now. I want to see where he can go. I never used him before when playing Sword of Asia, because he joins the party very late in the game in that one. He's like, you know, you meet him. The characters you start with, as in every Shining Force game, are like untested youths, because that's how these games work. Let's try out Hell 3. We won't be able to catch all of the enemies in it because we can't move her into a good position, but let's just see how much damage it does. Oh, it summons a tornado, which again, why is it translated as hell? I feel like in like traditional like mythology or whatever, hell is usually not associated with strong wind. It's more like fire and stuff. Or at least like darkness or something like that. Not like just it's windy. And it's funny because the other games all translate that as blast, which makes perfect sense because it's like a blast of wind. I could also see like gust, or you know, if you want to do like your Pidgey, you're using gust. Or Fire Emblem usually goes with arrow for the wind. You know, I'm like, and Final Fantasy actually too. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of actually. Final Fantasy, sorry. So I'm like, there are lots of different ways you could label this that are not that are more like make more sense. That seem less like why is it called that? But they just went with hell, which has nothing to do with the spell. Like this attack could be, you know, it's Cerberus, so obviously like Greek mythology, you know, it's in the underworld, and it's breathing out fire, which seems hellish. That could be called that, but wind? Not very hellish. But yeah, I never used Gaiden when I played Shining Force Certification just because you get him late in the game, so, you know, at that point I kind of already had my party of all the characters that I liked the best, so there was no room to add him, you know. But here I'm like, you know, maybe Gaiden can he doesn't have to warm the bench. Because I do think he's cool as a character. He's like this like bear who's a berserker and like attacks with body slams. I just want to check out the Belial, which I missed. Oh, so it has bolt and a spell. But it's just a matter of whether he's sufficiently useful, which he might be. I'm still a little bummed that his battle sprite doesn't have blue fur, because his portrait does. And also I think it would go well with his like yellow armor, you know, because it's more contrasting. The yellow and brown are sort of matchy. And I'm like, you know, being all matchy-matchy, it's not that styling. I'm kind of assuming that the color scheme is because of some kind of graphical limitations, like in how many different colors can be in the palette or something, because otherwise it just makes no sense to me. Why would you? Unless two completely different teams, or not different teams, but maybe the battle sprites and the portraits were made at like different points in development, so by the time they got around to making like, I don't know, the portraits or something, the sprite already existed and it was like, well, it's too late to change it. Could that be the answer? I don't know enough about like game development to know what sort of explanation is plausible, but surely there must be an explanation. Why would someone deliberately make a game where the sprites for the characters at different places are super inconsistent with each other? That would be a really odd thing to do. Maybe it just wasn't seen as a big deal back in the day. And now we begin our walking to the side quest. The most thrilling part of any level in Shining Force. Look at this, all the enemies that were at the top were just like, we're going over here. So we literally just have to walk. There's just a lot of Shining Force levels that do this thing where it's like, you just have to walk across the map, and it doesn't make it more interesting, but it does make it take longer, and like, I don't hate it or anything, but it is just strange as a way to design a game, and it is a bit annoying. Because it just feels like dead time, you know? Okay, just walking. Bust out some aura. Because we can't level Mayfair up too much, you know? We gotta make her as strong as possible. Yeah, it seems like Aura actually heals a little less in this game compared to Shining Force 2. That's the new mage sprite, by the way. See, I just don't, the wizard sprite, I just don't think it looks as cool as the mage sprite, you know? I mean, in this game, I feel like it's not as different, but in Shining Force Certification, the mages have like a cool wizard hat, like the pointy hat and a cloak. It's kind of Gandalfish, and I just think it looks more stylish. The little random armored shoulder pads also seem very weird. But yeah, it only healed 15 on Prince Nick, which was not healing to full. So it seems like in this game, Aura is actually slightly more reasonable. Because in Shining Force 2, it seemed like it just healed absurd amounts to the point that you kind of didn't even need heal. Except for the most extreme case where you're only like 60 HP or something. Whereas here it's like, huh, it's useful, but if the character has taken like half their health, you actually would need to do something else. I actually kind of like that better because it feels more balanced, right? Like Aura is really strong because you can heal everyone up at once, but it's best for healing a bunch of chip, and if someone is really down to like single digit HP, you need to use the single target heal. That just, you know, it feels like it's nice that both spells have a purpose to exist, as opposed to just having one uber spell and one that's like, why are you here? This is also, I want to heal Domingo, and I don't know when I'll be able to stand next to him, so let's just waste some MP here. I'm being spendthrift with Mayfair's MP, because she starts every battle with 51 MP, which is quite a lot. I think there wasn't. Yeah, I'm really hoping to get the wizards in the action because since the battle that we were using to level grind everyone for promotion blocked magic, I didn't get them any levels after promoting them. It was hard enough to promote them. So I'm hoping to get them back in the action soon. It's tricky. I might switch the running ring from Gaiden to one of the wizards because they do tend to fall behind because they only have 5 move. But Gaiden also falls behind because he's so slow. It's tricky. That is, and that's an issue with obviously any tactics RPG. Ooh, I shouldn't have clumped everyone up. Oh well. I think they'll all live and then we can aura them back. Like, it's tough when you're in this narrow corridor, you know, because if you don't cluster everyone up like this, then it's going to take you so long to actually get to the end of the corridor. And that's just annoying. But yeah, I would say in any tactics game, differing movement speeds kind of always tends to be an issue, because, you know, if one of your characters can go 7 spaces every turn and the other's going 5, you can run into an issue where your characters with more movement just tend to get out in front of the army, defeat most of the enemies, and then, you know, your characters who don't go as fast can fall behind. Have Claude attack the Belial, because I don't want to get all the experience on these 2 people. Ugh, darn. But, and then it becomes like a cycle of hurting, right? Because then it's even easier for your characters to get more and more, you know, the ones who have the higher levels are able to do better and better and get more and more X. Obviously in games where you have diminishing returns, so either like this game where you always need 100 experience to level up, but you get less as you get stronger from each enemy, or games where, you know, you need more and more X as you level up, they do it the opposite way, kind of help prevent that a little by making it so your characters can't just infinitely separate in level, but it is hard to reverse. But yeah, the low movement speed can be a definite issue. And I feel like maybe even more so in a battle like this where really we just have to run to the other side of the map. There's not like, you know, objectives partway through or like obstacles partway through. It's just a matter of blitzing across. Is the Cerberus going to be weak or resistant to ice? Oh, maybe a little weak. I was thinking maybe weak because it has fire powers. I'm never totally sure. Really good Domingo. But, you know, there's really nothing to do here but just walk to the other side of the map, so the people with the fastest movement just get there really fast. Let's actually use Bolt, because it might resist fire, because it breathes fire, you know? Well, we couldn't actually kill it, but that's something. But yeah, you know, with other maps where, like, maybe we had clusters of enemies part way, which sort of forces the entire force to stop and fight, so, you know, everyone kind of catches up to the same location. Or you have differing terrain so that, you know, like your centaurs can't just get super, super far ahead, or, you know, various other things that make the map not just a run to the side, to forward, but, the design of this map makes it especially easy for people to get a bit separated. I think everyone's pretty much fine. Just gonna probably, well, I guess use a triple, whatever. Creep forward. That's awesome, just well congested. We're not quite in range to use magic on the two of them yet. Moving forward. Let's kick things off by attacking the cleric. The cleric has heal 4, so we're going to want to kill him first, because otherwise, as we damage Dantom, you know, the cleric will just heal him up, which will be hella frustrating. So we want to take out the healer nice and early. Okay, this is obviously putting Yisha in danger, but I think it's worth it to get off of nice Blaze 3. His battle sprite is super cool as well. I really should get this guy to join the party, and I like that he's like his cool scimitar that he's using. He's stylish. And unlike our friend Gaiden, this guy actually has a blue portrait to go with his blue battle sprite. Like, they both match, and his map sprite. Whereas poor Gaiden has a brown battle portrait and a blue sprite. Yeah, he's just getting like 2 attack, 3 defense every level right now, so he's definitely catching up quickly. This could literally one-shot Yisha, but I really wanted to guess magic. Oh, as I expected. Just barely, though. Maybe I should give her the Protect Ring. Right now I have it on stock because his defense is also really crappy. I only have one of them, sadly. You know, in order to fight this battle, we gotta take some risks. We can just res everyone after, so it's fine. Yeah, let's ape this, take a shot. I don't think this guy is actually going to be super difficult to kill or anything, now that we've taken out all of his assistants. Well, I guess I'll just have Trey, I don't know, heal stock since he can't reach the fight right now. Okie dokie. I want to try and have someone who isn't already our highest level character get the killing blow if possible. Ooh, critical hit. Yeah, because I gave him the critical sword, that's right. We had it in a chest, so... you know what, sure, Nick, it's always good to have the main character be a little higher level. He's on a level 5. Very good. Dantom was defeated. Very good, Nick. It's nice for him to get more MP so he can maybe eventually use Bolt too. I can't kill you. I can't. I served your family too long. So is the implication that he wasn't going all out, I guess? King Edmund has been brainwashed by Waldol. So my prediction came true. I predicted in a previous video that it would eventually turn out that Edmund wasn't evil. He was just being controlled by demons or Dark Soul or whatever, because that's usually always what's true in Shining Force, that the antagonists, the kingdom that you're opposing, usually turns out to be basically fine. They're just taken over by evil forces. And Waldol worships Iom, an evil spirit. Yeah, so this is like pre-Shining Force 2, making it the Saga of the Devils, I guess. Because Shining Force 2 retconned it so that Dark Soul was one of the devils or whatever, like they were all associated. So here, Iom is just an evil spirit, but I guess, like, lore-wise, ultimately he's a devil, you know, because that's the direction the lore went in for the early Shining Force games, because they are all part of the same continuity, technically. Iom is also the villain in the second Gaiden game. Please be careful. There is much darkness ahead. Man, too bad we couldn't spare this guy and have him join us. Yee, I'm free! Free! Thank you, Shining Force! So this is one of our previous members of the Shining Force who was lost inside this. Shriek, where did you come from? And where are the others? So we're continuing this tendency to name the bird people after noises birds can make, because we've got Shriek, and then in Shining Force 2 we have Screech. But then we have people like Claude and Luke, so I'm like, why are some of them named random noises? To honor your family, Dantom helped me survive, and none of the others apparently. Most of the others were lost, but Lug may still be alive. That is Roos's dad, if you remember, and I'm kind of guessing, just from the context, that this may actually be Luke from Shining Force 1, and it's just a different translation, because Luke was also a warrior, which is the same class as Roos. And all of the other characters that we started the game with were, except Wendy, but maybe she actually is Tao's kid and it just wasn't mentioned explicitly, but the others were all the children of people from the first game. So I'm kind of guessing that's the case here. And it's just a different translation. I'm not certain though. He vanished during the Gundol battle and headed for Cyprus. Wow, dude, wait for us to catch up, man. There's no sense in you going off alone. Lug was pretty tough. Maybe we'll find Lug in Cyprus. Pretty tough. I don't know if he's tough enough to fight an entire army. Come on, Nick and everyone. Cyprus is just over these mountains. I thought we were already in Cyprus. Like, I thought that's where we were. Shriek the Bird Battler has joined the Shining Force. So he is also a promoted character. Bird Battler is the promoted one. Well, we'll see how good his stats are. I'm pretty happy with my current party, but I do like bird characters. So maybe we'll swap some up. Nick and the Shining Force were cheered by the news about Lug. They were so cheered up to hear that he had charged into enemy territory completely alone. But it wasn't enough to lift the deepening gloom. They knew they would soon confront Waldall face to face. We've completely forgotten about Frabel, apparently. And that is the end of Chapter 3. So we rescued some of the surviving members of the Shining Force who went to Cyprus. And Lug is still ahead, and we'll hopefully be able to rescue him. And I guess in Chapter 4, we're kind of going into Cyprus proper, like into the actual kingdom. Because I guess this is just like the continent it's on, the landmass it's on, but now we're like heading into Cyprus proper. Yeah, sure, let's watch this opening cutscene. Whatever, this one will go a tiny bit long. The Shining Force finally arrived in Cyprus, and King Edmund was waiting for them. So we now know he's under the control of Waldall. And Ione. Oh, it's an outdoor map. This guy's face is so weird. I gave him a deep voice too. Whatever. Other dudes. Dantom is dead, and he was only one chapter. Why should I fight on the front lines? I'm the king, not a foot soldier. Actually, I feel like it wasn't that unusual for medieval lords to be fighting on the front lines. Like, you know, they're basically like warrior barons or whatever. They maintained power via their capacity to inflict violence, so if they couldn't fight on the front lines, it might have been tricky. Maybe I've been taken in by Waldall, but it's too late now. So he's having some second thoughts. King Edmund, Prince Nick, and the Shining Force approach the castle. So soon? Curse Waldall. I never wanted it to come to this. I mean, I'm not feeling that much sympathy for him though, because he's like, I never wanted it to come to this, but it sounds like he never wanted an army to defeat him versus not wanting to have murdered his brother, which he seems very comfortable with. Like, this dude murdered his own brother. Okay, so next time we'll fight this battle, which, what an interesting map shape. It's basically a circle of mountains that we're gonna just walk into. But once again, this will be an outdoor map where it's very nice aesthetically, but it's just gonna take forever to walk through, because it's full of difficult terrain. And we'll have Dullahan, which we saw in some previous games too. They're like statue people, more Belials and more Cerberuses. Still some brass gunners hanging around. And of course, all the way down here, King Edmund. He's accompanied by a Demon Master, a Cleric, and here he is. He also has heal and boost, so he's like a support character. He has boatloads of HP though. But he doesn't look that much tougher than Dantom in terms of stats, so that's fine. Yeah, so I guess we'll basically just have to walk all this way. So that, and through a narrow bottleneck, my favorite. Oh, I guess we could go down this way too. That's probably more convenient. I guess in theory we could walk around the outside. I feel like that would maybe take even longer. Maybe we'll walk around the outside just to be contrary. But that'll all be for the next video. So thank you for watching, hypothetical viewers. I hope you enjoyed this confrontation against Dantom and seeing all of our promoted friends, including wizards. And in the next episode, we will be fighting King Edmund, Nick's uncle, who took over the throne and is under the thrall of Waldall. So look forward to that in the next episode of Shining Force Gaiden. This is the final chapter. We're in the home stretch.